repeat the non-conformist oath. I promise to be different. I promise to be unique. I promise not to repeat things other people say.
Welcome back to Positive Blatherings, episode 101, I think, something like that. My guest in studio, Amanda Ashley,
Hi.
who you would know from the interwebs, because I kind of fanboyed when you walked in, because I'm like, oh my God, she's here.
I know, it's funny to like to see each other like face to face, right? After all this time.
But you got your flower, you got your spectacles, and we can't see your boots, but they're banging.
I love these boots.
But this is all part of when you're in music and when you're an entertainer, you have a persona, you have a style, you have something that represents you visually.
Sure. I think it's funny. I think people expect me to be a lot more different than this, like outside of a gig or like something like this, right? But I'm honestly like this kind of all the time.
Like, what do you mean they expect you to be different?
I think like people think, like some people are like, oh, like you wear the flower all the time. Like people that actually know me well in life, like I always wear a flower.
Right.
You know, it's not like just a performance thing it's not really a persona. Like my persona is
you just
really
like flowers.
Me.
You like to wear flowers.
I love flowers.
Well,
I do.
Yeah. Okay.
It's feminine. I don't know. I just think I could look like complete crap, right?
Throw a flower in there and you're
throw
good.
a flower in my hair. And people are like, oh, she actually, like she thought about what she looked like. I'm like, no, it just looks better than me looking like crap.
Yeah, you're one of those people where you just like, oh, I just threw this together, and people are like, oh my God, really? You just threw that together?
I have a very artistic mind. So like, I think like when I look at things, I see colors. I don't really think about it. Mm-hmm. I just see like colors that I like together, and, I like accessories. Like, so I don't know. I think that's just like a very natural part of who I am,
Well, that's a good segue, because I wanted to start at the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. When you first started being the artsy fartsy kid, like most of us creators, we were a little bit off from the other ones, just a little bit separate in some way, maybe. At least that's what my experience was. Was the same for you when you were growing up?
Oh, yeah. I mean, when you say off, like I feel like right away, like I think of mental state. No, I think, art and music were just always a part of my life. Like I started drawing really young. My dad would always draw and sculpt, and I think he actually, so like my creativity definitely comes from his side. But nobody, I mean, at least I don't think like has really pursued music in the way that I have, or maybe felt as passionate about it. But yeah, I don't know. I started playing piano when I was 6. Like I was very interested in it at 4. And
you wanted to.
I wanted to.
You asked to take lessons.
I did. I
As
begged.
opposed to being the one where, your parents say, you're taking piano lessons.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I was the one. So like my babysitter had a piano. And I remember like some of my early memories like involve a piano, and it was at this babysitter's house, and I don't even remember what she looked like, but I remember the room, and I remember it being always kind of like dim in there, and there was this piano that like was just never used in the corner, but every time she'd babysit me, I must have gone there enough that like one day she called my mom and was like, Michelle, will you take this piano for Amanda? Like, I'm unfortunately getting divorced and I got to get this thing out of my house. You could have it. Just take it, move it. And my parents were like, okay, none of them are musically inclined so much. My dad, I think, like dabbled on guitar when he was like a young hippie and, and would sing and probably had a good voice. I remember him having a good voice, but that changed. He got sick when I was young. So like he had thyroid cancer, and I remember singing with my dad, like we would sing like Beatles and stuff together, and I have like old like tape recordings of it somewhere. But
that stuff is the best.
yeah. I wish I could like retrieve that and play it somehow.
Yeah. I mean, do you actually physically have the tapes somewhere?
I do. I'm pretty
Just have
sure
to dig them out somewhere.
it's in like a bin of the storage bins that I'll never get rid of. That'll follow me through life.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. The same thing. I have tapes from when I was like maybe 10 years old,
awesome.
pretending I was on the radio. WFTZ Fitz Radio, and here's Def Leppard, and stuff like that. But that's kind of what I did, and the same kind of musical thing. I remember going to my grandmother's house, and she used to sing and play piano, which really I never really thought about until recently. I was like, oh, so that's where it came from, because I'm a musical person as well. But my mother can sing, but never did it in any controlled way, in any kind of thing, organized way. But I used to sit at my grandmother's house, and it was the most boring place to be, but she had a piano. Mm-hmm. And I remember, and that's how I learned how to read music too.
From piano?
Just from the piano book, and just kind of learning what each thing was. Like I might not have known what the names of the notes were necessarily, but I remember over and over playing Frank Sinatra's "My Way" on the piano. And
by ear, like you taught yourself?
No. I was the music, but I kind of taught. I don't remember. Maybe she probably taught me. I don't think I could have pulled that out. But I just sat there playing, beep, 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 and I never really got anywhere on piano. It's just not. But that was what the start was. Like after that, I was like ADD music boy. So I was like, I want to play trumpet. I want to play violin. I want to play guitar. I want to play French horn. I want to play saxophone.
I'm still ADD music like that. Yeah, I was like that as a kid and still am.
Yeah. It's like you give me an instrument, I'll mess around with it until I'm tired and walk away. But I love that stuff.
It's fun, like my house is just full of instruments, like everywhere. So my son is 5.5, and I think he's around music all the time. I'm always singing, playing. His dad, plays with me. He has his own band. Like there's just constant music. We got 2 drum kits in our house, like 2 stage setups. It's
Nice.
just a very big part of our lives. And I wonder like what it's like for him, and he's like totally into video games, like wants to be like a YouTuber star, and he's very animated, but I feel like he goes to the music when he wants.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to keep it that way. I want him to choose music.
Sure.
The way I did, I don't want him to feel like he's forced into anything.
Into the family business.
Yeah.
No, that's something that I've seen. I'm a big fan of like celebrity memoirs and things like that. And you see it all the time. Like so-and-so's a big director, and now his son's directing, and and it kind of runs in the family. And a lot of those people like didn't want their children to go into the business because they had such a stressful time or whatever. But I think when you're a kid and you're around it, it just becomes part of who you are. It can become part of who you are. And if you choose that way, think about just the life lessons that you have as a kid growing up around someone who's musical like you. Your son is going to have abilities that he probably doesn't even know about. And then one day it'll be like, oh, I really love this. I'm going to do this, or not.
Sure.
But it's just going to be part of him.
It's going to shape him in some way positively. Like I just think of art as such a beautiful thing to be surrounded by, and whether he chooses that as his life path is one thing, but the fact that he was surrounded by that, what impact that'll have on the way he sees things, the way he hears things, the way he treats people even, like.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm really proud of my 3 kids. My son is a trombone player, a jazz trombone player. He actually was going to Fredonia, your alma mater.
That's cool, yay.
And but he left because it's too much of a party school for him. Was it a party school back?
Yeah.
So he's just not. That's just not him, right? So he's like, oh, everybody's partying, and I want to play my trombone. So he left. He did 1 semester there. He left, and now in the fall he's going to go to Eastman.
Excellent.
He's going to get his degree from Eastman. I don't know how the hell we're going to pay for it, but
He's going to get all the scholarships, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. They've got some kind of system that'll help him get through, because they actually tried to recruit him.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah.
But that kind of thing, like, and my other son is a theater kid and is a singer, and now wants to get into doing voice characterization and voiceovers. And I think that just them being around me and all the stuff that I've done while they were growing up really did kind of shape how they see the world, how they interact with people. And I that for me, that artistic sensibility is just so important.
I think so too. But some people just really don't have, like,
Oh,
they're
yes.
just not in touch with it.
It's just not there.
Yeah. It's like a thing. My mom is kind of like that, which is like interesting considering I am the way I am,
Yeah.
and she supports me. Like, that's the thing. Like, both my parents were always super, super supportive, and I'm so blessed and grateful for that, and still are, so I think, like, for them not being musical and understanding, the things I do, it didn't matter, and I think that's the best thing you could do as a parent, just support what your kids, the direction your kids want to take, hopefully, as long as it's a good direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, yeah.
But you come across as a very giving, a very sharing person, a very thoughtful person in your music, and in your online life, just the things that you've worked on, and now you've got you're running a nonprofit. Or you're a program director, or what is your position there? Tell us. It's Girls Rock.
Girls Rock Rochester.
Yeah, tell me about Girls Rock, because I just saw
It's awesome.
the air guitar battle that you had. It was amazing. If you haven't seen that, check it out on Facebook.
I gotta find it. I'm sure somebody has a video. I gotta ask Rachel D. Guzman from Jiva Theater.
Great pictures.
Oh my God. Yeah, the pictures are fantastic. Thank you, Carla Coots and Aaron Winters. They're good friends of mine, and they came and snapped awesome photos. So Girls Rock Rochester, we're a 501c non-for-profit, and the program has been around Rochester for 10 years, but it's a worldwide organization. And really, for us in Rochester, it used to be more focused on summer camp. This is my first year as program director, but the founder, Casey Smith, she's the founder of Girls Rock Rochester. She's making her exit out, and I've been transitioning in. So this year, as part of my transition, we've been pushing year-round programming. So before it was just a summer camp, 1 week, and then it became 2 weeks in the summer as we grew over time. And we also have an extension to Girls Rock, which is Pride Rock for the LGBTQ plus community. So really the idea is to give kids, young girls and members of the LGBTQ plus community a safe place where they could musically channel themselves. And we offer financial aid too, which is a big part of it, because we really just want to get music into the hearts and hands of all the kids that felt like they wanted it but didn't think they could have it because of finances.
Right.
So the program is designed to teach these kids how to write, how to self-promote, how to perform in a band setting. We give them performance techniques. We give them history on an iconic women and LGBTQ plus iconic figures, game changers, so to say.
Yeah.
And it's all like music education. Our workshops, right now we're doing about 4 events and workshops a month. So we have a monthly open jam.
It's busy.
Yeah, it's been hard, because it's like these months are like the worst in Rochester, obviously.
Right.
The weather-wise, and then we got COVID, and it's just like all this stuff, So I'm hoping that in the spring we could take some of this stuff outside too, and get some punk rock aerobics and some other fun activities that we could just, channel our love for music. And
Mosh Pit 101.
yeah, that's a good one.
How to exist in a mosh pit without getting really injured.
Messed up. Yeah, it's just like little fun ways of incorporating music. Like the air guitar was awesome. It was so much fun. Like, and that was a whole persona based exercise. You know, it's like
stage presence
and just being vulnerable and maybe not taking yourself so seriously, having your moment where you everybody wants to have that rock star moment where they're on stage. So just letting it go, you know, and it was super fun. Super fun.
That's awesome. You know, when I was in my 20s, I was in a band and we did like avant-garde stuff. Obviously, it didn't get very far.
What did you play guitar?
Guitar and saxophone, yeah.
I think I remember you telling me this before.
Yeah, I think when I was on your afternoon cocktail show, which is a great show. If you want to, afternooncocktail.com.
Yeah, Afternoon Cocktail is on all the podcasting networks too.
Yeah,
so.
Check them out. Go from the beginning. This was just so to sidetrack myself here. That was so. Of course, everybody knows that when the pandemic happened and everything shut down, people like, you know, reclused into their little world in their caves, and a lot of people found that virtual outlet to do. A lot of people started doing live streams. I know. My friend Ted Baumhauer started doing these juggling things on Facebook that were just amazing.
That's cool.
And that was such a thrilling time because you start to see all of these people that had such great ideas and such ways of kind of passing the time and still making those connections. And Afternoon Cocktail was one of those shows that because of Madge, from Madge Unmuted, who does her podcast here, she was like, "Oh, I'm going to be on Afternoon Cocktail." I'm like, "What's that?" And she said, "Amanda Ashley." And I said, "Oh, I know that name. I know that name from the music scene." And then I looked into it. I was like, "This is a great show." Like you really, you know, some people did just like, "Hey, let's screw around for an hour," but yours was like a structured, you know, really professionally produced show. I was really impressed. I'm like, wow, this is awesome. I need to meet this person.
Oh, that's cool. It was a really great experience. I mean, I'm a very goal-driven person. So, you know, when the pandemic hit, I also realized, aside from like being goal-driven, how much having a routine, I'm such a routine being, you know, so to not have a routine was like, making me crazy, you know? And I was like, I need to find a way to, you know, if this is time that I'm being granted, I want to still learn and grow in this time, use this time to like figure myself out a little bit and to take on maybe a new project that is going to challenge me in public performance. You know, like it's funny, like I perform all the time, but I hate to talk in front of people. This is fine for me. Like I could have conversations all day. Yeah. You know, but when it comes to being on stage and being more engaging, that was always, to me, that's one of my weaknesses. And I figured
it's not easy.
No, but I figured doing like a public speaking challenge would help me grow, and I could take that back into life when things resumed. So and it worked. It was great. You know, I definitely feel more confident and in so many ways than I did before the pandemic hit. You know, and it gave me a lot of polishing and a healthy way to channel myself and to connect with brilliant minds. I interviewed so many intelligent, talented, goal-oriented business and entrepreneurs, you know, like great minds, you know.
Did you do like over 100 of them?
We did 109 episodes. Yeah. So a lot of work.
It was like 3 times a week.
3 times a week.
That's crazy. It's like, that's a serious amount of work. I do my blathering like whenever. I try to average once a month, but I don't always get there. And even now, like I was stressing about this. I'm like, you know,
yeah,
I can't imagine.
I wrote everything out. Like,
and I'm like off the cuff. I'm like, I don't know. Let's talk about something.
I liked my opening monologue and my closing monologues. I'd get up at 5 a.m. and I usually would write it the morning of, because that was where, I felt like I let all that stuff, like those thoughts and those themes, fester in my mind. And then I wanted it to be from my heart that morning, how I felt about that. Because so much was changing on the daily between COVID and between politics and Black Lives Matter movement.
Yeah.
It's just like
very interesting time to be alive.
Holy moly, it's so much
Lots to think about.
And like all that stuff is, so felt and in some ways like overwhelming, so I'm trying to deal with my feelings about that, just as we all are, and trying to see what is our future, like what does our future look like, and how can I do something that's gonna help me grow, but like positively impact anybody who tunes in. So I mean, that was my driving force. Yeah.
Yeah. And it showed, because I could tell that it was definitely from the heart, and you had nothing but goodness on your side. Like that, your whole point was goodness, was connections, was, communication, and it was clear. And that's what I loved about it.
Yeah.
Because I met a bunch of people through watching your podcast, watching
That's cool.
your show.
Yeah.
Great people, like you say, brilliant people that are doing amazing things in this world that I don't know if I ever would, like Monty Mater. I don't know if I would have found her.
She's awesome.
She's amazing.
Yeah,
like
she's really
just
cool.
crushing it down there.
Yeah. There's so many, like I said, like so many artists that I connected with, and it was inspiring. It was the time that I wrote the most I've ever written in my life, but not musically. Actually, that's not true. I say that, but then I forget, like, because I wrote a lot of songs with my co-writer, Abby. But for myself personally, like I would go to the piano and I didn't feel super inspired to write my own music. And I think I just had so many thoughts about everything, and I didn't want to write a COVID song. I didn't want to write like a Black Lives Matter song. I didn't want to write that stuff.
Yeah.
And I just needed to live out that experience. And now it's like, somebody turned on a faucet, like a creative faucet. Now I'm like ready to write my butt off,
That's awesome.
It is, but I haven't been writing the way it was before with Afternoon Cocktail. So it's like, I realized how much I actually value the ability to write, and how much I like Mad. She, put out a book, and she used to write for women, Rochester's Women magazine.
Yep.
And I was doing that too during COVID. And it's like having that routine of writing every day like that was really very therapeutic. And it kept me healthy during a time where I could have been like very mentally unstable.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I found as a writer, that the routine, writing on a regular basis, every day, is actually sort of key. At least in my experience, because I really slacked on the writing, and now I'm stuck. And now I'm like, I have a bunch of stuff tinkering around up in there, but I can't seem to find it.
It's that constant stimulation. Like my brain constantly needs stimulation. Like I have 100 thoughts like swirling in my brain right now, about different things and what's meaningful to me, you know. But yeah, giving yourself that time to just like sit. It's like I look at writing and being in routines. Like even I say this to the kids I coach, about songwriting, even if it's just one thought a day, everybody has a thought in the morning and a thought before they go to bed, right? If you just wrote that down, it doesn't have to be poetic, just write down your thoughts, and then eventually, or even certain words that just pop out to you, and then revisit that as a song later. You could take segments of that, that fit and apply, and then turn it into poetry. But when you get into a routine habit of writing like that and just forcing your mind to think that way, eventually just will start to flow.
Yeah. I mean, it's like exercising a muscle, really.
Totally.
Muscle memory kind of thing.
Yeah.
What's your process for writing? Is it like sort of like poof, eureka, I've got this thing, or do you labor intensively over?
No, so speaking of routines, I want to know how insane I really am.
Please dish.
Okay. So usually I wake up in the morning, I'll go to the gym, I come home, like put Remy on, take Remy to school and get him dressed and ready. And then I come home, I have my cup of coffee ready. I have my lights dimmed, and I sit at my piano and I have my book out there. I'll usually like start playing classical music. I'll practice some scales, and then I'll just let myself get lost in some chords and experiment. It's a lot of it's happy accidents, and I'll hit these chord progressions and just messing around. That'll strike a chord, so to say, within. And then I started asking myself questions like, how am I feeling right now? What am I feeling? And how does that relate to like how this chord makes me feel? And then that's usually where I start writing. So a lot of it's happy accidents. I always have my phone by me and a book, or something that I could like capture, very quick thoughts, because it's like as quick as they come, they go.
Yes.
So,
oh gosh, I know.
Yeah. Sleep. Like sometimes I'll sleep and I'll think of lyrics or parts of pieces of songs, and I'll like wake up and I know I have to write it, and I'm like, no, I'm too lazy, and then I'll go back to bed.
It's gone.
It's
that. You know how many amazing movies have completely come and gone?
I'm sure.
I wake up and be like, oh my God, that was an awesome idea. I'll remember that. I get up in the morning. What the hell was it?
Yeah.
But now I can't even remember why I walk into a room sometimes.
Oh, yeah, right? I know. For all the things I could remember, I cannot remember the simplest things. Names are bad. Oof.
Oh, come on.
Names are terrible.
And it's not even...
People probably hate me because of it. I guarantee it, because they're like, this damn girl cannot remember my name. It's hard though. I see a lot of people, like, and through Facebook too. Everybody thinks that, if you're friends with them on Facebook, they know every single thing. You're watching every single thing, and that's not always the case.
Right. Yeah.
But
I know if I meet a bunch of people, I just say, I'm not going to remember your names, just so you know. Like I make a joke out of it.
Or you could just be like, hey, I'm just so you know, I'm going to ask you your name like 8 more times. Yeah. I usually say that actually sometimes.
Or you could be one of those people that, oh, hello, Amanda. It's nice to meet you, Amanda.
Yeah.
So, Amanda, tell me about it. What, they constantly repeat your name to you? Because that's their process to try to remember. And you're like, it's just weird when someone keeps saying your name over and over and over.
You know what I started doing when people introduce me, and this actually works. Like if I'm like, oh, hi, I'm Amanda, what's your name? And you're like, hi, my name's Peter. And I'm like, oh, Peter, nice to meet you. And then I think right away, Peter Pan. Or like
right,
Peter Pumpkin Eater.
Yeah.
Or Peter something, like whatever it is that will make that stick out.
I remember you. What's your name? Pan, Pumpkin Eater. Oh, yeah, Peter. Well, at least you were, rated G about it.
Yeah.
You could have went a different way. So now you have, and I love it because you sent me a Facebook message. I sent you some smut, which was your new photos, which are amazing. You look fantastic.
Adam Eden, he's fantastic. He
did a great job.
Yeah, great photographer.
And then you sent me a couple of songs and a lyric video for Leaves.
Yes.
Was it Leaves? And the other one was
Lies You Believe.
Lies We Believe.
So yeah, The Lies You Believe is from Shades. It's a new project I have. You're going to probably get annoyed by me because I'm going to be sending all sorts of stuff.
No.
But yeah, that's a new project that came out of COVID also. One of my students, I've been mentoring this beautiful girl named Abby Riggins, and her and I started working together maybe like a year before COVID hit, I believe. And then I found out she was a songwriter. Her friend came to her lesson one day and she was like, Abby, did you show Amanda your song? And I'm like, Abby, you write music? You got to be kidding me. Like, why didn't you tell me this? So I wanted to hear what she had. And she's like, all I have is vocal melodies. And I was like,
oh, that's all?
That's it. Basically, all she had was lyrics, a whole song with structure.
Yeah.
And she just needed somebody to compose music for her. And that's what I started doing. And we started doing that virtually during the afternoon cocktail time. And we ended up writing 13 songs together.
Oh, fantastic.
So, and then from there, once we started coming back together, we started gigging out and putting together a set with covers and our originals. And then we started writing from scratch together. So The Lies You Believe is one that we, like the most recent song that we wrote, and we recorded it with Mike Gladstone, who is brilliant. And yeah, I'm really proud of it. So that's like going forward, it's really been my main focus these days. Just getting this project lifted, and I really believe in the music that we're writing. I think it's good. It's
very powerful.
Yeah.
Your performance, your vocal performance is really powerful.
Thank you. It's interesting because Abby and I have very different lives, and she's literally like half my age, so it's interesting how you could take two people with two very different lives and perspectives, and how much writing chemistry we could have, and how much we actually understand each other.
Yeah.
It makes me think about like how many different cycles we go through in life. Like think about when you were 18 years old, like how you looked at things and what you thought of yourself, and what you thought you wanted in life, and like all that stuff. I know, totally different.
It's like, it's weird. It's like if I ran into my 18-year-old self today, I'd be like,
right?
Who are you?
Oh my God.
That's that what? Like if my 18-year-old self ran into my 49-year-old self, I'd be like, oh shit, really?
Man, I was like such a mess, and I made a lot of mistakes, but I mean, the greatest thing I did for myself was really always follow my heart and my passion, and not being afraid to take risks.
Yeah.
And, it took time, but that's how I was able to build and sustain a career in music in Rochester, New York. Like
Right.
I never thought I'd even be in Rochester, New York. It's crazy.
Right, because you're from Long Island, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was born in Massapequa.
No way.
Yeah, that's where I'm from. But then we
Awesome.
moved down to Florida when I was like 5. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, but I still
Do you
have lots of
family out
family
there?
on the island. Yep. Family in
Nice.
Sayville, family in
talking my neck of the
Massapequa
woods.
Park. Yeah, all over the place.
Patchogue. Blue Point. Blue Point beer.
No, I don't.
So
Oh, the beer.
the beer,
Yeah,
Blue
yeah,
Point
yeah.
beer.
Yep.
So I grew up off of Blue Point Road.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And now, I mean, they didn't have like the big, brewing company that they have.
That's they
today.
have the blueberry beer. Do they have the blueberry beer?
I think so. Yeah. They have a bunch of different
I don't know,
lagers and stuff.
The amount of like microbrews and craft breweries that
Crazy.
popped up in the last 10, 15 years is just insane.
Oh my God, I love it though. Like, thank
I
God
don't drink
for it.
anymore, but
And, yeah. Well, I mean, I love it because all those places employ musicians like me.
yeah.
So because
Exactly.
of that boom, like, I've been able to sustain myself.
There's all these new venues to play at. Like you play
cool.
at
I play
Smoke. What's his?
K2 a lot. I play Smoke and Eagle.
No, what's Tommy's Tommy Burnett?
Oh, Iron Smoke.
Iron Smoke.
I
Have you
haven't
played there yet?
I haven't played there like in recent times. Actually, the night like all the bars and restaurants got shut down was like my last show there.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, crazy. But yeah, I don't play. I mean, at the moment, I don't really have much lined up in Fairport. But I play in Webster a lot. I play in Livonia at No BS Brewery. Like what? I have a residency there for Saturdays, and
Oh, nice. So you're
Yeah.
there every Saturday?
every first Saturday
every
of the
first
month.
Saturday.
Yeah.
But so, here's something that I don't know, some people might overlook. Someone who's in your position. You are living music. Music is your life. You are living that. You're not playing music, but you're going to this like really crappy 9 to 5 that you have to slog through, right?
No.
So it's like, as you get older, at least for me, what's the dream? What the dream used to be. And I remember when I was in my 20s and it was like, oh, we want to get signed and we want to be, there was this whole thing where this guy was going to sign us and he turned out he was full of shit, but we thought it was legit. So we were like, oh man, we went to the music store. I'm like, I want that Paul Reed Smith guitar. I want that, and it ended up not happening and I was crushed.
Yeah.
But the idea of what is success, what is making it in your personal field or whatever it is. And I think it evolves over time. Like originally you want the mansion and all the money and all that kind of stuff, which I'm sure you would never turn away if it happened.
I mean, it would be nice.
Yeah, it'd be nice. But
yeah.
When it comes down to it, it's like, all right, well, I'm working in what I love to do on a daily basis in a lot of different ways.
Every day, my goal is to fill my day with as much music and love as I could take in. And I do a lot of things, but I love every single thing I do. And I really put my heart into it because of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think, I don't know. That's it for me. You know, like to me, like happiness is success. It's not really about being a billionaire or having record deals. To me, all I want to do in my life is travel and experience different things and to be surrounded by people I love, the people I love. Mm-hmm. You know, that to me, if I'm able to get paid to do that and play music and,
right.
you know, and play music, that's, you know, those three
right.
things, you know, like if I could do all three of those things, which I can, and I have been for years at this point, you know, like if I wasn't playing out at a bar, you know, or like last night I played Shamrock Jacks. If I wasn't playing out at Shamrock Jacks, I would have been teaching, you know, and hanging out with some really awesome people, you know, and passing forward my love for music and what has benefited me in my life. You know, if I wasn't teaching, I would be playing piano,
right,
or hanging out with my kid, you know, and my family. So it's, you know, it's always going to be happening regardless. To get any pay for it, it's a beautiful thing. Right. I'll take it.
Yeah.
You know?
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
The whole process of writing, from, you know, the first little idea to the completed song, I know from experience that, at least for me, it's like, for our movie, it was like, you know, giving birth.
Yeah.
You know, I've never given birth, obviously. But that the whole thing, and the movie that we did, Bottom Feeders, it wasn't even my script. It was Steve Miller's script. And he,
you guys are a great team though.
We are a great team. We constantly say that we share the same brain.
Yeah.
Like he'll have a bad day and be like, "Oh, you must have the brain today." But we, you know, we wanted to update the script, and I jumped in. And we worked really well together, and our writing styles were very similar. And I found that if I'm not working in a collaborative effort with other people, other creative people, I am not effective. Like to helm my own thing, like I'm going to write a script and it's going to be a movie. I'll get 17, 20 pages in and then write myself into a corner. But if I'm working with somebody else, and they're like, "Oh, I have this idea," and I go, "Oh, we could do this and we could do that," and we go back and forth, then it's like, phew, sky's the limit. Collaboration's
powerful. I really believe that. You know, like I try to teach the kids at Girls Rock this. I mean, that's a big part of our program.
Yeah.
You know, learning how to be collaborative. It's being able to open your mind and to listen to others, you know, to effectively communicate. Those are skills you could take anywhere in life.
Yeah.
You know, and we could benefit by listening more to each other and, you know, being a little bit more open-minded and maybe even accepting some constructive criticism, you know.
Yeah.
That's all a part of life, and it's a life skill. So I think, I like to collaborate very much. I'm inspired by collaboration, as it sounds like you are too.
Yeah.
You know, like going to open mics and stuff. People want to bash open mics as being like an amateur hour. But if you use it properly, it's a phenomenal networking source and way of building community. It's also a great way to step outside your comfort zone, you know,
absolutely,
to step off the page of notes and to try to do something different on the fly.
Yeah.
It's very hard to do, you know.
I'll have words with anyone who talks smack about open micers.
Yeah.
Because it's usually the people that would never get up on stage.
Right. It's very true.
Like it takes a lot of balls to get up there and try your stand up or sing your song or whatever it is that you do to get up there in front of people, especially people that, you know, and most of the time the open mic nights, the people are there because it's an open mic night and it's your friends and it's like usually a welcoming environment, you know, but that's still daunting as hell. It's a bunch of people you don't know and you're like, "Hi, I'm going to bare my soul."
Right. I hosted one for many years with my partner, Bo, who I also did afternoon cocktail with. And just as a side note and a tribute to him, I mean, for all Afternoon Cocktail was, like, a lot of it was Bo, you know, like I could never do any of those visuals. Like he's like you know, like with all this beautiful technology, like I don't know crap about that. I'm not going to pretend that I do.
He's the toy master.
Yeah, exactly. Like I know how to write. So like we were able to focus on our strengths, you know, with that. But when our friendship began before we became, you know, a couple was through music. And we hosted an open mic for like 8 years. And so many relationships we formed in doing that. And so much growth had happened at a time where we were also like kind of partying, you know, like we were younger. Like I was in my early 20s and I was like new to this scene and trying to find my footing in music and everything, you know, and I did a lot of growing through that. But I mean, hosting open mics, you get some characters that come in. And the one thing I would always try to remind myself, because, you know, sometimes you get some crazy people, you know, and people that were not looking to be serious about anything, you know, not that it's supposed to be, you know, but
it's sort of a lack
to a different
of respect,
level.
you know?
Yeah. You know, and there's some people like that, but for the people that maybe weren't the best sounding or whatever, like I always try to look at it in a sense where these people are coming here on a weekly basis because this is a release to them. They do, like, for the ones that really loved music, they're looking at this as a place to grow. And when you, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter like what skill levels you're at, you know, it's really that the bottom commonality is the fact that we're all here together because we love music and that, you know, we want to exercise this part of who we are, you know, so to not take that away from anybody who's, you know, maybe just trying to get on stage because they always wanted to perform once in their life, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm terribly afraid of heights, so I volunteered to do the 21 Stories for Scouts where you rappel down the First Federal Plaza building.
Ooh, that sounds scary.
It was ridiculously scary. My hands are sweating just thinking about it. I did it 3 times, 2 times down First Federal Plaza and 1 time down the Kodak building. Just because through the radio station, you know, they had the media day, so they allowed us. And it was like, who wants to do it this year? And I'm like, I'll do it. And every time I do it, I'm doing it. Why did I say that? Why did I say that? But it was my need to say, I'm not going to let that fear conquer me.
It's really important.
I still have that fear.
Yeah.
I'm still terribly afraid of heights.
Yeah,
but I'm like, I'll do it. If someone asked me to do it tomorrow, I'll be like, yeah, well, you know, it's a little warmer perhaps, but.
Wait, so it's like you're falling down flights of stairs, like
you rappel down the side of the building. When you leave, I'll show you the pictures.
Oh my god! That sounds terrifying.
And you get up on the edge, and they're like, "All right, now lean back." I'm like, "What?" They're like, you put your heels on the edge of the building, so you're literally looking down and seeing, you know, 21 stories down. And they're like, "All right, now lean back." But you've got so many like things hooked up to you that. Even if like
I
all
don't
of them
care.
burn.
That is scary. No, you will never see me doing that. God bless you, though. I can't believe you did that.
But yet, you know, you going up on stage and going through your set and playing songs that are of, you know, your making is very similar to rappelling down the side of a building. You know, there's a lot of risk involved with yourself.
Yeah,
putting yourself out there.
I don't really see it that way.
I'm sure
you know. I mean, I think at a time
it's a stretch to say that it's like rappelling down a 21-story building.
Yeah,
but
definitely doesn't compare.
I see similarities.
Yeah, for some people, you know, performance is scary, and for other people, you know, like at this point in my career, I don't really care. Well, I think part of it is like I just stopped caring what people think. Yeah,
you know, I
hit that point.
I was actually going to ask you about that. Like, what was your biggest? Well, all right. So the question I was going to ask was, what was your biggest obstacle in music that you had to overcome? And and it might not be one. It might be a slew of things. I don't know.
You have like any cricket noises you could play?
We don't need to play it now. Everybody can hear it.
Yeah. You know, it's really hard to say. I think I don't want to get like preachy.
Why not?
Well, I'm afraid it might come off the wrong way. Part of it is being a woman in still a very male dominated field.
Sure.
You know, like,
The male dominated world.
yeah.
I mean-
yeah. I think, as a girl in the beginning, like, you know, being as driven as I am now, I've always been, and I didn't know anybody in Rochester. Like when I moved here, I knew my ex, I knew like a handful of friends, but I really started from scratch. All my family was in Long Island, you know, which is pretty far. And, everybody, all my friends from college were, you know, trying to figure out their lives too and getting into new fields or going to grad school or whatever. So I was very lost for like my first year. And then when I found myself like in the music community and going to open mics, that's where like things started to blossom a little bit. And I started to figure out who I was. But, you know, like I trying to figure out as a girl, like how I wanted to present myself, you know, like I'm kind of a girly girl, but always teases me that like I used to dress like Kelly Bundy, you know, like, you know, like I did, I was, you know, like I wore like the short stuff. Like it was like actually a time I love fashion, like in case you like can't pick that up. I mean, like I said, like the artist in me, like I love fashion. I love dressing up. I love clothes. I love makeup, you know, like it's just the girl, that part of me, like as a girl that I really love. And being a musician, I like had this opportunity to exercise all that and, you know, not really be questioned as much, you know, because I'm a performer, you know, but also as a girl, you know, there's some sleazy bar, you know, like sleazy owners and people trying to book me, like not even in Rochester so much, you know, like in other areas. Like I did some like DIY tours and, you know, like people just, a lot of that. So, you know, and some sexism too, you know, in the sense where I think, never mind all the work I do for myself, you know, like the booking, the promoting, like all the time I put into building a 300 song repertoire, you know, like, and writing my own music. It didn't matter. Like, I think people just thought I was getting gigs because of the fact that I'm a big chested girl and that I dress like Kelly Bundy, you know.
She's hot. That's the only reason why she's up on stage.
Because she's a girl, you know, and I'm like, you know, that's crap. You know, like that bothers me, you know. But I never like really let that get to me too bad. You know?
You definitely don't come across as someone who would really give a shit about what
I wouldn't, and that's why it's kind of hard to say it was an obstacle. It's like I've learned to be a guy's girl like over time, like, and that doesn't bother me. I like it too, you know.
Yeah.
I like sometimes I'm like I'd rather hang out with guys than girls, you know. But I love my women tribe too, you know, and for some of that sexism that is present, you know, like it's allowed me to grow some really thick skin and to prove people wrong. You know, no, you could think that, but that's definitely not the case. I work my ass off. Yeah. You know, and I'm proud of that. And I'm proud of the things I accomplish, no matter how small of a scale it is or how it looks. Like to me, I consider myself successful and I love what I do, you know, and I work hard for everything that I do. So I take pride in that.
As you should.
Yeah.
As you should. Yeah, that's, I've spoken with quite a few female entertainers, and you can't get past that subject of sexism and that kind of thing.
It's there,
which is really sad. And this happens, you know, even with you know, with the Me Too movement. And I see, you know, so and so, you know, being called out for this and that, and it just pisses me off because I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Like now, like it's not 1950. Come here, toots. You know, it's like, come on.
Yeah.
Like if you can't see this other person for their talents, for their humanity, and you only see them as their sex, it's just like anything else. You see them as their skin colors. You see them as their religion or something. You know, it's like that kind of thought, that kind of tunnel vision, just so angry. It just frustrates me.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, really now? I was like, aren't we old enough? Like, it's like, aren't we old enough to play with others nicely?
I definitely feel like I have, and in some ways I wonder if, like nowadays I definitely, like, all that's diminished a lot. I mean, A, I'm older, and B, I'm not dressing like Kelly Bundy anymore. But most importantly, I think I've earned like some level of respect, and and Rochester is a very small community, so like now I know people, and I've had that chance to prove myself. So I don't get that as much anymore. But
sure.
I think like as a young person and trying to find their way, just always remembering that just because they're dressed like Kelly Bundy and have big boobies doesn't mean that they earn their way up to having the X amount of gigs by, actually acting inappropriately,
Yeah. So what's in your, say, 5-year plan? Or is that too far ahead?
No, it's not. I want to take girls rock as far as I can. Like right now it's a big focus of mine, and gaining more visibility and spreading awareness of our mission and all the good we're doing for the kids in our community.
Yeah. And
that's definitely going to be a major focus, helping build this program, elevate it to the next level, and for me, like on a personal level, I think my work with Abby, like it's definitely going to be a big part of these next 5 years. Like if we keep writing the way we're writing, and I hope that we can tour, and take our music outside of Rochester and do other things,
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see, like my plan is always to keep progressing as a writer. At some point in life, I'd like to put out a book, but I'm not sure when that'll be.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And Shades comes out in May, did you say?
So May, we're releasing our single, which is The Lies You Believe. And right now we have a few shows coming up. We're playing April 1st at 75 Stetson Street and April 15th at Record Archive. We're doing the Fickle 94.1.
Fickle 93.3?
93.3.
My old radio station where I used to do mornings.
Oh, yes. Dino.
Yeah, Dino has my show now.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Well, no, I left. I quit.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
I love Dino. He's actually probably like, now I got to do mornings.
Dino's awesome.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah,
he's
Dino.
hosting it.
He's my, he's the same age as my oldest brother. So I always call him my Rochester brother, like my radio big brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dino and I love Dino to death. The best part of my job was to go and fill in for his happy hours at like Titus Tavern and stuff like that. Because he does all the cool stuff. And I didn't get to do any of that stuff, but he was like, "Hey Fitz, I need the day off. Can you come host?" I'm like, "Yes."
That's cool.
So I'd work the morning and then go home and then go and do Titus in the afternoon. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun. I see him. Yeah, he used to be at Murph's a lot too.
Yep.
I mean, he still goes there a lot. Yeah. I see him every so often.
You can find out more about Dino K on the Rock Radio podcast and my interview with him. Find it where you get your favorite podcast. Cool. Self-plug. So AmandaAshleyMusic.com. Mm-hmm. Depending on when you listen to this, if those dates that she mentioned have already passed, then of course you can find what's going on with Amanda and her music on her website. I highly recommend you check out the Afternoon Cocktail. There's so many great conversations there, and it's just produced with so much heart that it's worth the viewing and the listening.
Thank you.
Any final words?
Final words. Ooh.
You know what? Actually, yes. So because of the Girls Rock Rochester, give me what kind of advice would you give to a younger person who wants to get into music?
Go for it.
Yeah.
If you want to play music, don't let the fear of judgment or don't fear messing up. You know, if you really want something, it's okay to mess up. That's how you grow and you learn. I tell my kids this all the time. I think we're a lot harder on ourselves than we need to be most of the time, you know, and just allowing yourself to explore and to mess up and to take in, absorb as much as you can in the process and surround yourself by the right people. That'll bring you to that next level.
Awesome. And, at the end of this, I'm going to show you I'm going to take a picture of her boots. They're going to be at the end of this video. So if you want to see the boots, you got to check out the video on YouTube. Amanda Ashley, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. It was a long time coming. I really appreciate you coming in, taking the time to blather with me.
Thank you for having me. This has been awesome.
Great.
Thank you.